Hey guys, I'm Jade. This is John, and you probably follow us on other platforms, and you're probably not used to hearing my voice. Well, guess what? You get to hear it now because people have been pressuring John and us
Mm.
to actually share a bit more of our lives, to hear a bit more from me.
To let you get a word in
The
edgeways.
brains behind the operation they wanted to hear from.
The brains, the beauty,
Uh,
the humour.
so, guys, we're giving you what you asked for, and we're giving you a YouTube channel. So, hello, welcome.
We're just going to be doing fun, everyday, regular chats like it would be if we were in a coffee shop with you. We don't want to actually go for coffee with any of you guys, though, so don't message us because we know that a lot of you are.
If you want to buy us a
Freaks.
coffee, have you got that thing where people can buy
Oh,
coffee?
yeah.
Buy us a coffee.
I think there's an option of doing that in my link tree or something.
Linktree. Get on there, guys. Buy me a coffee. I need it. I live with this guy.
So if you want to support us financially, you can, but we just don't want to spend any time with you. Other than this, like rhetorically, we can.
This is John's dream because he gets to talk and there's no other person on the other end.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah.
So it's perfect.
Lovely stuff. So we're going to dive straight in with something quite deep and something quite raw and real, parenting and meltdowns. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, how do you deal with your kids when they have meltdowns?
I was going to say, we're not talking about kids, are we?
Well, a bit. But I really need to get off my chest. The biggest issue that we have in our house is Jade's just horrendous meltdowns. She loses the plot. She throws things. She spits at our kids.
Now, anyone who knows us knows that I'm the least likely person in our household.
Okay. Let's rank us then. So I'm John, I'm 36, Jade 35, then we've got 9-year-old Elijah and 6-year-old Aralee. If you've never seen our content before, that's our family. So rank us then. Who is most likely? So you already said you're least likely to have a meltdown. Who's most likely?
You.
I'll behave.
Between you and Aralee. The two divas of the household.
Between me and our 6-year-old girl.
Yeah.
I think she has more than I do.
Just. Yeah. Bearing in mind she's 6.
Yeah. Proportionally, age expectation wise, I'm probably higher. But yeah, I think it's her.
Yeah, then you as a close second, then Elijah, and then me way down the other end.
You don't really have meltdowns.
When was the last time you saw me stomp my feet and walk out the room and slam the door?
For context, again, if this is the first time you've seen us, Jade is in a wheelchair. That's not a joke. She is. So she's making the joke that she's never stomped her face. It's kind of unfair.
You've never seen me do that.
There's a lot of things I've never seen you do, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true.
So Aralee at the top, then me. I think so.
And why are we bringing this up? We're bringing this up because it's just been Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of people have to spend a lot of time with their family members. Which should be a lovely thing, and it is a lovely thing.
It is. We had a really good time. We went down to Kent to see my extended family, and it's really nice, but we live up in Lancashire, so we don't get to see them loads. And I think some of it is like just the pressure of like, I've got ADHD, and so I can romanticize things and overthink things sometimes. And I think part of it for me was I just really wanted it to be a nice time. Like I missed my mum and stepdad. I missed my dad and stepmom. I miss my wider family. I've got like 307 cousins. Like I when I see people, I really want to make the most of it. And so I think I probably not burn myself out when I do it, but there's a lot of emotional energy going on.
You have a very high expectations.
Yeah.
Like for everything, which can be a positive.
Yeah.
It also can be like a really big negative. Because I think then if you've only got a short period of time and really high expectations, that is just a recipe for disaster in my book.
Yeah, I think it's an element of like perfectionism. Like, I mean, as you can probably see, anyone who's watching this, like you've got eyes, you can see like visually perfection. And so I think like that standard is that standard is like broadened out across my life, as in I don't think I have really high standards necessarily of other people. Like, I'm not somebody who's like, oh, well, they didn't do what I wanted them to do necessarily. Like, I'm not super controlling of you or the kids or anything. Am I? But like,
no.
of just how I want things to go, like circumstances, I can find myself very quickly frustrated, I think.
Yeah, and I think I've noticed, like, because I said to you, whenever we go down to Kent, you always have a tantrum. And that sounds really like juvenile, but it's like tantrum's the best word for it though.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds really juvenile, but like it is that, like, you are an explosive ball of emotional energy.
Mm.
And
That
it's
can
so
be a good
funny.
thing sometimes, right?
It can be.
Because I'm just happy-go-lucky, fun-loving.
When you're happy, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I think what's hard, and I don't know whether other people have this with like maybe different members in their family being neurodivergent, but I'm not. I'm neurotypical, and it can be really hard to kind of manage how you are and how I am, because I think from the outside. So give an example. So when we were down in Kent, we went to see a pantomime. That was lovely. Really enjoyed it. We then went for a meal, and I think by that point, you and the kids were both overstimulated.
Yeah.
And we probably realised,
like the flashing lights and the loud sounds of the panto.
Even if it's fun, even fun things can get neurodivergent people overstimulated.
Yeah.
I think even if they're enjoying it, I think afterwards they need like a buffer zone.
Yeah.
And we're figuring that out as we go along. But basically, we went out for food, and I think on top of seeing the pantomime, and then the kids sat by you and they're asking you stuff, and then you're trying to have a conversation with your mum and your stepdad, and the food, we're waiting for the food, and you're hungry, and then the food wasn't that great and things. And I think it's all these little things add up, and it resulted in you kind of jumping out of the booth and like storming off to the car.
Well, my state, so what it was,
that's all sat there like.
And from you, I think it like feels like that build up. From me, I think like my steak, it tasted like it had been cooked by a hand dryer. Like it was so cold. Like, and you know when you just think I can't be bothered even to send it back, because we're in a pub, like it's probably microwaved, like regardless.
Yeah.
And so I think
it's like a cheap and cheerful pub.
Yeah, and I think what it is for me is I assume responsibility most of the time. Like I'm not somebody who's like, someone else will do it. Like I think with family things, with the kids, I think it's one of the reasons why we work well.
Yeah.
In that, as a husband, I want to be there for you and support you and love you. And I don't care for you with your disability, but I think I am naturally really caring.
Yeah.
And so
you have to be more thoughtful.
Yeah.
And you have to take charge when we're in public as well.
Yeah, exactly. So like if there's not an accessible toilet, like things like that, or if we've been places before where the accessible toilet's like full of stock, or like just awful things where I have to assume responsibility. I have to be the one who sort of takes charge, and it's just, and I think because of that, I don't know why I do it. I seem to always think I need to sit next to the kids, and most of the time in between them, because I don't want them annoying each other down one end. So I'm on this long bench. I've got Arilee on my left, on my right, and Elijah on my left, and they're just doing my head in. Like they're leaning on me, and they've been doing that all through the pantomime as well. And I enjoy it. It's like nice to have a hug, but I was starting to get a bit touched out, and the noise. And I told them a few times, just stop now. Then I decided I'm going to move Arilee into the middle and stuff. Even if they argue a little bit, I just can't deal with them both in each ear as I'm trying to listen to my mum and stepdad and everybody else and things. And so I thought I'll sit at the end. I started to go into myself a little bit. I got my phone out, which I know is antisocial, but I just needed a bit of my own time. And then they were like elbowing each other and being silly, and then they're like sliding down and they're under the table, and I'm like, it's not a playground, it's a restaurant, just stop it. And then Arilee got her hair in the ketchup and things because she's like leaning over, and I basically was just like, right, that's it. And
we were literally, well, I wasn't sat in the booth, I was like parked on the end of it, but were you in like a booth type thing?
I stood up and I just stepped across the bench and like stepped over both of them and just went outside. So when Jade says a tantrum, I want you to know I'm not like chucking peas and stuff, like, or like just like stamping my feet in the corner or something. I just know I need to remove myself from the situation. And I think I've got better at seeing the signs.
Yeah, you have. And I think actually it stands out more because at home now, I think there's multiple things. I'd be intrigued to know whether people watching this, if you've either got a neurodivergent person in your house or even someone with a disability, like whether you find this too. But I think at home, everything's set up for both of us. So I'm very independent at home.
Mm.
I don't need you to do that much, you know, like you do have to put the bins out. I'm never going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And things like that. But overall, I can crack on, sort myself out and sort the kids out if I need to without needing you.
Yeah.
So I think that works for us.
Your biggest struggle is you get tired more quickly than the average person, not you're incapable of doing everyday tasks.
And then I think also like our house is quite a calm household, really. Like, and I think you've got a space that you can go to when you need to just get away from the rest of us. And so when we go and visit or go on holiday or go and visit family in other parts of the country, all of a sudden we've got that double whammy of things aren't as accessible for me, so you need to help me more. So there's more mental and physical like load bearing.
Well, quite often, for instance, definitely. And for instance, we'll quite often stay in a Premier Inn, and there's 2 tiers to the accessible rooms for Premier Inn. Some have a walk-in shower where it's a wet room and Jade can just sort everything herself. Some have a lower bath but no walk-in shower, and most of the time we found that the walk-in showers can be gone.
Oh, they're snapped up.
Yeah.
Who is using these walk-in showers? Because like I don't want to be like
disabled people.
No, but I don't want to be like making a tier of disability.
You do.
But I am.
Yeah.
And
who do you think's the most disabled?
Like someone like me who is paralysed, and actually the only way I can independently wash myself is with a like roll-in walk-in shower.
Jet hose.
Yeah, that has happened before we've camped.
When you got arrested that time.
But like, I'm just like, if you can stand up and you can move your legs, you can get in a bath. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I don't think.
So that's me being a bit judgmental, maybe. I'm like, they're always snapped up. I never see anyone else in a wheelchair in these Premier Inns or travel lodges. So I'm building this whole conspiracy theory in my head of who is actually booking these. If you're booking them, can you please let me know? Like, comment below this, because I want to know who's booking these rooms. Yeah, but I can't use them.
Only people who are going to be commenting at other people in wheelchairs now. They're not going to be like, I'm completely able-bodied, but I love a walk-in shower. Sorry, love.
No, but it's not even them. It's like, oh, I got a bit of a bad back.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, well, you can still have a bath though.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know. I'm being judgmental, but
you
it is
are.
what it is.
Hideously.
If you disagree with me, let me know, guys.
Hideously ableist of you there, Jade.
But yes.
No, I agree with you.
Saying, so there's multiple burdens and things added.
So, for instance, this Christmas I was helping you into the bath.
Yeah. And I couldn't. I was a bit annoyed because I couldn't bath myself. I couldn't just wash my one.
I was a bit annoyed because she wouldn't let me join her in the bath even once. Unbelievable.
No, but everybody knows that sharing a bath is never fun.
Yeah, it's rubbish.
And I'm never going down the tap end.
Oh.
And you know, I think there's that, and then there's also like going into new environments where you don't know, like how overstimulated you're gonna get, and also with that emotional energy of like Christmas or like holiday times, like it does increase it all for a neurodivergent person. So we have that double whammy of when we go away, there's a lot more obstacles to overcome.
Yeah, and I think because I'm hyper aware of other people's needs, which I've kind of touched on already, and I do think it's why we work really well. I can also be like that with extended family and like with my mum and things. So my mum has ME. She struggles a bit with her energy levels. She can be very up and down. And so I know that I think I'm very protective of other people. And then I forget to be protective of myself until it's too late. Because I don't always, sometimes you say it feels like these things have come out of the blue. And for me, I
notice them more now. I can notice
also, I think, a bit more now. And I've started to notice it as well. But I also think sometimes for me, I've got better at noticing it. But sometimes for me, they come out of the blue as well. Sometimes there's a 5-minute window where suddenly I'm like, okay, I'm really starting to lose it now. And that has only just come on. And then when later on we were unpacking it and you were saying like, well, actually the panto's very overstimulating, then we went for food, and if your food was disappointing and you're feeling tired from a busy day the day before and the kids were starting to frustrate you and there was a baby crying really loudly and like suddenly you're like, oh yeah, of course. But I don't realize that sometimes until I'm suddenly like up here. It's not like I'm like gradually, although sometimes I'll have the gradual thing and they're all just so little. To be fair, a little bit like that. It's like, what am I going to do? Go over there and say to the woman with the baby, can you keep your baby quiet? Never. Like, I know what that's like. I know how hard it is when you've got really little kids. And so I think it's quite hard sometimes for me to know what to do in those situations, like
Yeah.
other than like leave, because I was telling the kids again and again, I was calm with them for about 10-15 minutes, like, please can you just sit still, because, and it wasn't like 5 minutes into sitting in there I was like, right, that's it, and I exploded just because I didn't have a nice steak. Like, I don't think I'm a diva.
No, but I think as well, people aren't used to, well, I'm not used to seeing that kind of behavior from a man. Now, hear me out with that. I think often in families, it's maybe the woman, the mum figure, who is the go-to person. And I think everybody can relate to a mum just being frazzled and having a bit of nobody appreciates me and storming out.
Yeah, that's me.
You treat this place like a doll's house, and
you're rude. You didn't answer me back. You don't time.
Like, I'm storming out the house. Like, I think nearly everybody has got a memory of their mum doing that at some point in their life, and then the dad's just there like, huh?
Turns to the kids like, it's probably a period, guys. Don't worry about it.
Whereas in our house, it's almost swapped. Yeah. I'm generally more laid back than you, and I'm not neurodivergent.
I mean, it's often literally like 20 hours a day.
Horizontal on the bed.
20 hours a day, she's just chilling in our room.
But I think it's like I'm more laid back naturally anyway, so that does like kind of affect our dynamic. And my natural isn't to shout, so if I'm overwhelmed, I shut down. Yeah. So I'll implode, not explode. Yeah. You'll explode. And I remember when we first married, like having to like figure you out a bit, because I used to think, I think the first year of marriage, because we didn't live together before we were married. So I think the longest period of time we'd had together was maybe 2 weeks when we'd gone on holiday, solid. Yeah. And that's obviously like a fun thing, going on holiday. And also we went to stay with my uncle and aunt. Yeah, and so, but also there was other people around even then. So it's very rare that we had long periods of time, just us. Yes. And so like, I remember like in that first year, when the first few times you would have like a mentee bee, I used to think, and I think we all do this, project onto you, like, what it would take for me to have those behaviours. Definitely. So I remember thinking, if I exploded like that, I would literally be like, I'd be having a mental breakdown. Yeah. My parents would be flipping, going, you need to see a counsellor. For you to get to that level, it would be like because your whole family got wiped out in a house fire or something, and you just didn't know what to do. Whereas for me, it's the ridge on my sock is annoying me, the label in my like hoodie's annoying me. Yeah. The kids just said something, and someone said to me, comment to me online. Yeah. So like, and I'm like, so like I had to say like, oh, okay, like I had to like chill out and be like, okay, it's not like, because I was like, emergency, like we need to sort this out, there's something seriously wrong here, and you just be like, just give me a bit of space and let me like. To be fair, I think we had two phrases. So I got diagnosed with ADHD about 2 years ago or so, and before then we didn't, like you say, we didn't realise, we just thought it was like quirks or Johnisms or whatever. And I think because I know that I can be really patient, it depends on how tired I am, depends on how like stressed I am, how mentally busy I am. And for me, often it is lots of little things, and that's why it can often seem like it comes out of nowhere. Yeah. Because it's not like, as I say, it's not just I had one disappointing meeting today and then I've just lost my mind and started being a nutcase. Like, it's normally 20 throughout the day that suddenly grind me down to the point where I'm like, man, and I'm not very good. I will probably, with my ADHD, go straight on to the next to try and give myself that boost. And if the next thing's disappointing, I'm like, okay, the next thing. And it's almost like I'm, like in those like Tomb Raider or whatever, where they're jumping to like boulders that are slowly falling and they're trying to get to, it feels like that for me sometimes. And then I get to the end, I'm literally just holding on by like my fingernails and I'm like screaming for help, and everyone else is like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, why do you need this help? And two of the phrases we had were, I used to say to Jay, so because you're a very direct person, when there's confrontation or issues, you're like, right, what's going on? Let's deal with this. And I think for me, because I was like clinging on, I was literally at the end of my rope and really struggling. And I'm like, and I've lost it a bit. Like my head has gone. When you were like, right, what is going on? Because this is ridiculous. Why are you shouting? Or why are you getting so... I used to say,
like stop poking the bear was like my phrase, because I
Yeah.
felt like my head was gone. It was like a Hulk moment, like or like transformed into this like
Then I took as like very like I was being gaslit
or blamed
because I
yeah.
was like, I'm not poking you.
Yeah.
You having a tantrum's not my fault. Like that was you. Like then I'm getting even more annoyed and being more defensive. Like hang on.
Yeah.
Like you know.
Whereas for me, it was that like this thing, then this thing, then this
Yeah.
thing, then this, and then this, and then this thing, and then finally, like
You just
I
can't
can't regulate, and I can't cope, and I've exploded. And then you're this thing,
Yeah.
this thing, and this thing, and this thing,
Yeah.
and you're going bang, bang, bang,
Yeah.
bang, 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 and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, and I remember at times I was like, just be quiet, just leave me alone. And I felt like, even like, sometimes it feels, and I told you it was going to be deep.
Basically, we don't like, pay for John's counselling sessions, so we're starting this guide.
But sometimes it felt almost like an out-of-body experience where I was aware how mad I was coming across. And I was aware, like, I think in my head I was aware, like, sometimes I even have that thing of like, is this like abusive? Like, when I'm like, just be quiet for a second. And I think that I've come to the conclusion it's not, and I've told Jade she'd better agree. I've got to stop making those jokes. But like, I think what I've realized is when you are at the end of your rope, like what it was like, if to continue that holding onto the cliff analogy, it's like, in my head, it was like now was when you thought it was a good time to jump off you were safe and fine, to jump off the cliff and like dangle on my legs and be like, come on, sort it out, pull yourself up or whatever. And I was like, you're making it worse. Like, let me pull myself up onto the cliff, let me calm down and I'll be fine. Because the other phrase I used to use is like, it's like a shook can. Like I felt like a shook can, and the second you open it of like fizzy drink, it's gonna go boom. And so it felt like when you're in those moments, like, what's going on? You're like, let's open it up and deal with it. And it's like, no, I'm shook right now. I'm going mad. Let me just give me 10 minutes. Let's just put the can down for 10 minutes. Everything will calm and everything will go smooth again. And then when we try and open it up, it won't spill over. And I think we've learned, like, that's really good, wasn't it? That's such good wisdom. You're welcome. Like, but I think genuinely we found that so helpful, and I really hope it does help people watching.
Well, I don't react now. So when you did have this tantrum walkout in the, what was it, like Hungry Horse?
I prefer to call it my extremely mature removal of myself from a highly inflammatory situation. These toxic kids. No, when I had my tantrum and stormed out, when I had my hissy fit.
But I don't really react, and I do worry that does. I think your mum and stepdad know enough now to know I know how to handle you.
Yeah.
But like, I do wonder whether it looks a bit like I really do not care at all, because I just don't. I just let him go. I just continue on. So blah blah, carry on conversation.
You do that.
Because I'm just like, well, what can I do? You need the space, and I can't. I can't do anything.
Yeah.
So and then once you've had space to calm down, then I can like talk to you, and you'll be crying in the car, and I'll be consoling you. Like, okay.
And you're like, careful, when I can't really see anything. The tears are streaming down my face, and But
then it's so funny, because then I think once you've had those explosive moments, you can almost have like a bit of a hangover from them, where you feel a bit emotionally fragile.
Yeah, I sometimes feel guilty. Like I sometimes feel like really weak. Like I should be better than this. Like we were sort of saying jokingly and tongue in cheek earlier, like the 6-year-old, it feels okay.
Yeah.
A 36-year-old bloke, it feels like this is immature, or like. I don't know, like just like you should have it more together than that. And I think like, since I would say, like, I love the quote, the hardest person you ever lead is yourself, because I think it's so true.
Yeah.
Like, and the amount of time sometimes like either of us get cross with the kids, and like we'll go to the other one, like, was I a bit too much then? And sometimes it'll be like, yeah, I think probably you're just stressed, because I don't think they were being that bad. And other times it'll be like, no, they were being awful, and if you didn't say something, I was about to. And I think that's really helpful to have. But I think that I do think that knowing myself better, like, it's easier to lead yourself when you know yourself. And I think,
and also it's easier for us to avoid you getting into those situations. Now we know like triggers, or like now I know if a place is really loud or like demanding, that okay, I have to check in with you, or I have to like be like, are you okay? Do you need to go? We need to go. Like, and I'm understanding. But I do wonder how people and I've been intrigued to know if people know this, if both people in the relationship or
Yeah.
neurodivergent. How do you resolve these kind of issues without it escalating? Because I feel like with us, we're quite compatible. Our differences make us compatible, like calm,
Yeah.
more like energized. Like we're
Yeah.
we're similar enough in some ways, but that difference. I wonder, like, if we were both neurodivergent, would then I be triggered as well? And like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
Like,
think
people let me know, but like,
I do think though with your disability, I think we have some level of insight into that, because whilst it's different, you do find yourself, you're less likely to find yourself overstimulated, but you are just as likely to find yourself very tired
yeah,
because of your disability. And I
and
think,
pace myself.
yeah,
So we get pacing.
and I think
Yeah,
because of that, we tag team a lot.
yeah,
Like there'll be that kind of right, you go and have a nap now and stuff, and I'll deal with the kids or whatever,
yeah.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
And I imagine that like probably that would be
They
what
just
you'd
have to do
a bit, because I think
it's more me not thinking about the pacing thing, but it's making me think of, like, if you are both extremely overstimulated
yeah,
and you both explode,
yeah,
what does that look like and how's that resolved? And maybe people watching this will know and can like let us know in the
yeah.
comments. But like, I'm really curious to know, like, how do you work conflicts out when you're both neurodivergent,
Yeah,
like that volatile?
and I think that's a really good question, because I think also we don't know if our kids are divergent or not. I think they probably are. I know for me that it was. I wish I'd got diagnosed when I was 16, when or 15 maybe, when I started GCSEs, because and this is typical of people with ADHD, they're fine with learning all the time. There's teachers and parents and everybody keeping them accountable, but particularly teachers. But the second it becomes quite independent learning, so you've got to do your revision, and no one will know how much revision you've really done if you're in your room saying you're revising, and no one will know until the results happen. I didn't really do any revision, and that's when I started to fall off a cliff, because ADHD people can find it very hard to motivate themselves if it's not novel, interesting, challenging, or urgent. And that's why they'll do last minute late night revision, for example. So I wish I'd had that knowledge when I was about 15 rather than 36, or 34 or whatever I was when I got diagnosed. But I'm also aware with our kids. I know if I'd been diagnosed at 9, like our son is right now, I would definitely have like weaponized that and used it as an excuse. And I don't necessarily think that's true of all people with ADHD. And I also think with some levels of neurodivergence that medication, like there can be different levels of extremity to how much you struggle with it. So no judgment for people who have decided to have their kids diagnosed early doors, but I do think also for Elijah, he probably would. I think he would be like, oh, it was probably just my ADHD and I can't do my homework or whatever. And so I think at the moment, because they're not having troubles at school regulating, they're not getting in trouble, they're not finding things too much that we're aware of anyway, and teachers aren't telling us that, we're not finding that at home either. At the moment, we're like, we'll just sort of see how it like maps out. But I think that when they do get overstimulated, whether that is a neurodivergent thing or just a childhood thing, sometimes like she'll get really frustrated, similarly to how I can with the seams on her socks and like getting her socks on. And if her socks are a bit baggy and she can be right, and she takes her shoe off again in the morning and we're running late and I'm like, your shoe on, get your shoe on. And she's like, oh, it's been so annoying. And I'm like, darling, in a minute, we are just going to have to go, whether you get your shoe on or not. And she's like, oh, but why is it being so annoying, Danny? I'm like, shall I take your sock off again and put it back on? And I'm like, oh my goodness, the time. And I do think that I've had to start pausing myself, because them being overstimulated can trigger me being overstimulated. And I think you're probably right. There probably is an element of when someone is shouting, if you did lose it a lot and were shouting, even if I was calm, I think sometimes that's the weird thing about ADHD. You can be amazing in a crisis and then lose it over nothing. And so I think if you lost it, I would either be incredible of like, right, I'm going to take the kids up the park quickly. You chill, we'll chat about it later. Or I would be like, what the heck has gone on? And you would tip me over as well. I think it's so hard, isn't it, to like navigate.
If you have any tips, please leave them below, because like we need them. Like if you know, like if you've developed things that like really work for people who are neurodivergent, like how do you cope and manage when you go on holiday or go into new environments, or you're around family and, you know, maybe more volatile situations? Like, do you have any tips?
Yeah.
Like, how do you manage that?
And let us know in the comments, full stop, like, when was your last meltdown? Do you think you handled it well? Do you think you're getting better at handling it? Any advice for us? And also, just thanks so much for spending time with us today. Really hope you've enjoyed it. Really hope you found it helpful. As I say, do let us know in the comments if there's anything else you want us to talk about. Please like and subscribe. And if you found it helpful today and you think it's moved the needle for you a little bit in some way, shape, or form, and you know someone else who you think would find it helpful, we'd love for you to share it. But do like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. We're going to be posting these every Sunday evening, every single week. So thanks so much for hanging out.